So the Massey Ferguson top 10, here we are, and there might be a few controversial decisions in this. Now this list was made up by people who emailed me and texted me and sent me messages on TikTok, on Facebook, and of course here on YouTube as well. So it's not really my list, but it's a list of top 10 of my viewers, anyone who views any of my social medias, and indeed a lot of my friends as well who know a lot more about Massey Fergusons than I do. But this is the top 10 that I have put together, and it is fair to say it is a pretty accurate list from my humble knowledge of Massey Fergusons. There was a couple of them that I really wasn't sure what. I was kind of pulled one way and another, and to be honest, at the start of making this video now, I'm still not sure what I'm putting at number one. I will decide when I get that far. It might be a little bit controversial, it might not be, but let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me your top 10. Anyway, starting off at number 10, and it's hard not to add in the Arctic tractors from the 1970s. So at number 10, the Massey 1200 or the 1250. So of course they were the baby Arctics at the time. So built from 1972 to 1979, and then from 1979 to 1982 for the 1250. They were at the time a big Arctic four-wheel drive tractor, when other manufacturers like Ford and that were relying on County, and of course you had Doe as well, which was two tractors kind of stuck together, and they weren't in-house, proper built, proper four-wheel drive tractors like the Arctic Massey Ferguson is. It had brilliant traction, good for manoeuvrability as well. They were comfortable at the time, and operators did love them. So at the time, they were a little bit ahead of what you would expect from the likes of Ford and them. And of course, John Deere had that hydraulic four-wheel drive system. But the 1200 and the 1250 at the time were super machine, and they deserve to be at number 10. Perfect for tillage men all over the UK. They were very popular in the UK. They came with a couple of choices of transmission. There was the 8-speed and then the 12-speed with multi-power, of course powered by that Perkins 6354 engine, 5.6 litre 6-cylinder diesel engine, non-turbo. Then in at number 9, one that people might be surprised to see on the list, but it is very worthy of its place, and that is the 50B. Now the 50B is the construction it's basically a backhoe loader, similar to a JCB, a front loader and a back actor on it, powered by the Perkins 4236 engine, which I believe would be similar to, I think that it was similar to the 565, so the Massey Ferguson 565, built something around that frame. But it done wonders for Massey Ferguson in relation to the construction end of things. It really put it up to JCB, and of course in 92 was bought out by Fermec, and then in 1996 bought out by Case, and then of course Terex bought them out in 2000. So the roots of the Terex machine today go back to those Massey Ferguson, the 50Bs of the 1970s. So that is worthy in at number 9. It's not one that I would have thought of, but I would say well over 50% of people who sent in their top 10s had the 50B on it. And yeah, I do agree, it does deserve its place there. In at number 8 then, the 3075, that robust mid-range utility tractor with the 1000 series engine, 4-cylinder turbo, something around, I think, something around 95 horsepower, something around that. Very well loved and very well known for its quiet cabs and that Dynashift transmission. Electronic controls at the time for the four-wheel drive, and of course the PTO, the PTO and the four-wheel drive were all electronic. Flick of a switch and everything worked, and they were very popular all over Ireland, all over the UK, and a very smart looking machine, smart, tidy looking machine. Didn't look too small, but they had a great cab in them at the time, very comfortable, very quiet, and was still loved to this day, and they're still being bought up, still being restored. Yeah, super tractor, and it's very well deserved of its place in the top 10. And of course, today and going forward, as always, the channel is sponsored by the agrimotivestore.com. So that's my own store, the Agrimotive Store, where you can find plenty of tools and utilities and electronic test equipment for your everyday needs across the farm and wherever else you may be working. So moving on then, number 7, we have the 590 and the 590T. Now, I have never seen a 590T. I didn't even know there was a 590T. Obviously, I knew there was a 590. I'm well aware of the 590, but I didn't know there was a turbo version of it. But apparently there is, and they are rare. So if anyone knows about them or has one, drop a comment in the comment section. So I don't know, I've seen very, very few of them. So the 590, I believe, was built from 1977 right up to 1982. 90 horsepower engine, the A4 248 engine, 4.1 litre. Of course, came in 2 and 4-wheel drive, which at the time, 4-wheel drive coming into the conventional tractor, full mechanical 4-wheel drive was a huge step up. And of course, it as well came with the 8-speed or 12-speed multi-power transmission, and it was a really good all-round machine with a much improved cab for the time. So you were coming from the old Flexi type or the Duncan type cab in the 100 series, and in the cabs in the 200 series. The 590 was a step up when it came to driver comfort. And they were as well very popular with grassmen, with tillage men as well, because you could get them in the 4-wheel drive. So smaller tractors were becoming more popular with tillage men when they could get them in the 4-wheel drive for jobs like ploughing and, heavy draft work, cultivation work, stuff like that. 590, again, very popular, very well worthy of its place in at number 7, and hugely reliable as well. Moving on then, we're moving up the years a little bit now, and this is a tractor that I always like the look of, I always like the stance of this tractor, and it is the 6480, built between 2004 and 2012, with the Dyna 6 transmission. So that transmission would be 24 forward and 24 reverse with 6 power shift gears in 4 ranges. So that's really, so you had 6 power shift ranges gears within 4 ranges, which made it excellent for heavy tillage work, ploughing, and the likes of heavy draft work, stuff like that. 6.6 litre Perkins engine or a 6.6 litre CCU engine, turbocharged, and they both come in something at around 145 horsepower, and the CCU engine would boost up to, I think, about 170 horsepower. I don't think there was a boost on the Perkins. Now, maybe I am wrong. People can correct me in the comments if they like, but I know the CCU engine did boost up to 170 horsepower. Again, a big lump of a tractor, big, strong, heavy tractor for the time. Operating weight, something in around 6.2 tons. And it was ideal for, again, tillage men, silage men, and of course, contractors, because of the size. It was a good all-round, big, strong, reliable tractor. Moving on to number 5 now, we have the daddy of the 100 series, and that of course is the 188. So built between 1972 and 1976, but I do believe some of them were built up to the official production range on the 188 is 1972 to 1976, which is a short production range. Now, some of them, I believe, were built up until 1979. A short amount of them were built up until 79. And again, with the A4 248 engine at 4.1 litre engine at 75 horsepower, 12-speed multi-power or 8-speed, 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, live and independent, 540 RPM PTO. And of course, like every other 100 series tractor, they were superbly reliable. Easy to work on if anything go wrong. Parts are widely available for them and were at the time. You could literally do a clutch in one in the field if you wanted. If you were getting stuck, you didn't have to take them back to the workshop. They were that easy to work on. They were that straightforward, simple, reliable, all-round, fantastic machine. Now, I could put the likes of the 165 and, which would be one of my favorites in here, but the 188 had everything that the 165 had or has, and a little bit more. It just has it's that super spec, it's that longer, about 6 inches longer, bigger lump of a tractor, better for carrying, implements on the back. It's more stable. It's just a better tractor with a big, strong 75 horsepower engine for the tractor that it was. So that is my number 5. Moving on to number 4. I don't think there'll be any disagreement with this tractor being on the list. It is, of course, the 6290, one of the best tractors Massey Ferguson has ever made, and it is in at my number 4. So built between 1999 and 2003, I think, something around that. Of course, that Perkins turbo 6-litre engine, something in around 120 horsepower, Dyna shift, Dyna 4 transmission, so 32 forward, 32 reverse. And of course, it was as well, suitable for tillage applications, for stockmen, for contractors, comfortable on the road to a reasonable extent for drawing silage or even driving the silage harvester. Stick it on a 4 or 5 furrow plough into a sower. Very, very versatile, all-round, comfortable, extremely reliable machine, and great all-rounder and very well deserved. Again, at number 4, the 6290. In at number 3, we have the Pocket Rocket, and probably one of the most sought after, most loved Massey Fergusons of all time is the 390 and the 390T. What more can you say about a 390? I've always loved them. Just the size of them, the look of them, the cab for the time. Although by the time production ended in 1997, the cab probably was a little bit out of date at that stage when you look at other things that had other machines that had come on the market at around 1997. So the 390T, 1989 to 1997, A4 236 engine, turbo, non-turbo. Of course, turbo was 92 horsepower, non-turbo was 79 horsepower. And one of the most loved and most sought after tractors of any brand, let alone Massey Ferguson. Lovely little 4-cylinder Pocket Rocket, 12-speed synchronized gearbox, and then you had the 12-speed synchronized shuttle, and you had the 18-speed power shift. I think it was called the speed shift transmission. Of course, if I say anything wrong in any of these videos, because I'm not overly familiar with the fine, the fine details of Massey Ferguson or any other brand other than probably John Deere, please correct me if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. So the 390T in at number 3, without a doubt, well deserved. Now number 2 and number 1, I think I still haven't made up my mind, and I have a lot of stuff going around in my head, but I'm going to do my number 2. So my number 2 is, I'm going to just change the sheet here really quickly. My number 2, and it is maybe a little bit controversial, because technically it is not a Massey Ferguson, and that is the reason I have not put this tractor at number 1, because it's not a Massey Ferguson. It is a Ferguson, and it is, of course, the T20. So everybody loves the T20, the little grey Fergie, the tractor that started a revolution, the tractor that has its DNA in every other single tractor pretty much in the world on the market from then until now, with the 3-point linkage, the hydraulically controlled 3-point linkage. So built from 1946 to 1956, the little grey Fergie, the TE20, popularised Harry Ferguson's hydraulic 3-point linkage. Came in a variation of engines, of course, the Continental and standard diesel engine. Came in a wide range of variations: the TE20, the TEA, the TED, the TEF, diesel and TVO. You had one petrol versions, and you had the Continental engine, of course. You had the standard petrol, you had TVO, and then you had the TF20, which was diesel. 4 forward, 1 reverse, very, very simple little tractor around the 40 horsepower mark. But what can you say? It started a revolution at the time with 3-point linkage and draft control and all the likes of that came along after, and still going strong today, still very much loved, still in use regularly on thousands of farms across the world. The T20, much loved and much adored by everyone who has, any sort of love for tractors or Massey Fergusons. And then, of course, the number 1, I don't think it's going to come as any shock whatsoever to name the 135 as the top number 1 Massey Ferguson ever produced, ever built, the most loved, as voted for by you, not by me. I might put a different tractor in there, I don't know. But anyway, this is the list that, pretty much every top 10 that I got in, the 135 was either second or first. A lot of people put the T20 first. The only reason I haven't got it first is because it's not a Massey Ferguson, and it's as simple as that. So the 135, obviously the most popular engine in it was the A3 152 3-cylinder Perkins, and it was built from 1964 to 1975, and there was hundreds of thousands of them built. The most popular Massey Ferguson ever made. Iconic, most loved and most desired Massey Ferguson came with a 6-speed transmission or an 8-speed plus a 12-speed multi-power. And there was the 135 industrial version. But yeah, it comes as no surprise. The 135 probably at one stage has been on every farm pretty much in the country of Ireland, and most probably the UK as well, but loved all over the world, the 135. Simple, reliable, enjoyable to drive, a great fun tractor to drive. The 135, the 152 engine will pretty much start on the tip of the key in any weather conditions. Once they're looked after, once they're serviced like everything else. But yeah, that's it. That's my list. That's the top 10 Massey Fergusons voted for by you, not by me. So if anybody has any disagreements, if you want to chop things around, if there's anything you want to add in, I will give a special mention to the 2000 series. I was in two minds of putting in the 2000 series in place of the 1200 because really the 2000 series, they replaced the 1200 around that time when you were looking for high horsepower, conventional style, four-wheel drive tractor. And then there was obviously cab modifications. They were much more comfortable cab, but I think for the time, I think the 1200 and the 1250 were a little bit more, they stood out a little bit more. They were a little bit more unique, and they're getting great love these days. The last 10 or 15 years, the 1200 and the 1250 just pipped the 2000 series for me. If it was another day, I might put the 2000 in, but yeah, I give it a special mention. It probably should be there, but it's hard to know what you take out. So if you have any disagreements with that, if you're happy with it, please give it a thumbs up. If you like it, please share it. If you know anyone who is a Massey Ferguson fan and would like to see the top 10, please share it. And yeah, just to wish everybody a happy new year. I will be back next Sunday, which will be the 4th of January, something around that. So yeah, enjoy your week. If you're still off work, enjoy it. It's been great weather for Christmas. My God, it has been absolutely stunning around the country. I've been getting out for walks every day in the woods near us, and the frosty mornings are just beautiful. I love it. Anyway, take care, everybody. I'll see you all in the new year.